love is something that is really generated within you and then projected out onto other people. And in that sense, it's both an illusion and it's very real, maybe the most real experience we have in life. And yet the way we perceive it is very much illusory because we think it's about the other person when in fact it's about ourselves. It's about our sense of who we are, of what we lack, of what we need, of what we hunger for. It's a very reflective, self-referential kind of experience, and yet we perceive it as if it's completely about the other. And I was thinking of an example of that I didn't mention but should have. A few years ago, on the 4th of July, my parents went out to watch the fireworks or have a party. I don't know. They went to someone's house for a party or something. And they left the dog in the backyard. This is in Los Angeles where they live. And my dad's got a golden retriever named Tess. It's the third golden retriever he's had. First there was Stoli. Always a bad sign when you name your dog after vodka. Stoli, and then the other one. Shit, I forget the other one's name. That's Brandy. Yeah, Brandy, and then Tess. Okay. Anyway, so they're golden retrievers. You can understand why I get their names mixed up. I go to visit occasionally. There's a golden retriever. I don't know. I forget. I don't care. I don't really have a personal relationship with them. And they all look pretty much the same to me. So here's the story. My parents went out and left the dog in the backyard. I guess because of all the explosions, the dog got really nervous, freaked out, jumped over the fence, which it had never done before, never wanted to. It's just kind of a lazy fucking dog. So jumped over the fence. They got home. The dog's gone. Oh, my God. Big panic. Because they're in a part of Los Angeles where you wouldn't want your dog running around. It's just traffic everywhere for miles in any direction. It's just roads and cars and craziness. So it's not what you would call a dog-friendly zone. And they were freaked. Well, my father was freaked. My mother doesn't really much care for dogs, so she was probably secretly hoping for the worst. But my dad and my sister were freaks. So they ran around calling the dog everywhere. Then they drove all around. They put up signs. They contacted all the neighbors. They called all the shelters, and they did all the things you would do if you were freaked out because your dog was missing. And passed a couple of really rough days. I think I was in Vancouver at the time, and they even sent me email updates and, oh my God, the dog and this and that. Anyway, so and I know how they felt. When I was a kid, my dog ran away. It was like the world was ending. I mean, I can remember all sorts of panic and crying and freaking out. Anyway, so a few days later, they get the call from the shelter. Hey, I think we have your dog. So they come down and there's the dog. Oh my God, the dog! And everyone's so happy. And the kissing and licking and all the things you do with dogs. And then they took the dog home and they're in the backyard. And my sister and my dad are throwing the tennis ball, and the dog's running around chasing the tennis ball, and everybody's happy. It's a fucking domestic bliss situation. And my sister's boyfriend comes home and he looks out the back window and he says to my mother, whose dog are they playing with? And she says, well, that's Tess. And he says, no, it's not. And then around this time the phone rings and it's a neighbor who says, hey, I think we have your dog. Oh, really? They go down and there's Tess. Now, the dog that they had was not their dog. And in fact, later when I talked to my sister about it, she said, well, yeah, I did think about the fact that Tess was wearing a collar and this dog wasn't. And then when we went into the house, this dog walked right into, mom's bedroom area, which Tess knew never to go into because that wasn't, that was forbidden land there. And there were some other things that this dog did that Tess wouldn't have done or didn't do. But they ignored those things. And they truly believed for that hour or 2 hours or whatever it was that this was their dog. So my point is that what they were feeling, that relief, that happiness, that love, those were authentic feelings. They were really feeling those things, right? But it really had nothing to do with that dog that was chasing the tennis ball, right? They'd never seen that dog before in their lives. So my point is that I think this illustrates what I was trying to get at in the previous episode, where I was saying that the feeling, the love is generated within you, and then you locate it on the person outside of you, and you say, oh, that's the person that gives me love. Just like my father said, oh, I love this dog so much. That's the dog. Without this dog, I can't have this feeling, right? Because the feeling comes from this dog. It didn't come from that dog. It came from a dog that sort of looked similar to that dog and didn't have a collar and didn't even act particularly like that dog. But it didn't really matter to him because the feeling it created was authentic. So I think we all do this in different ways in our lives. We generate feelings and then we attribute it to external triggers.